Hi, welcome to the Whitey White Guy Show. I'm Whitey, and today I'm gonna do a thinking out loud about running a retro channel. Um, Whether it's retro video games, mostly retro video games, which is what I do. Um, uh, there's my buddy Jamie on this channel was commenting in the comment section saying he was thinking about starting a retro video game channel, and I got to tell you. If you're like, man, that looks cool, I want to do that. First off, there's a million of them out there. So if you want to start a channel for a hobby, and enjoy the views and the subs that you get, go ahead. But if you want to grow a larger channel and make some money off it, I never have. I don't know how. I can't help you. But there's a lot of competition out there because a lot of people are doing it. And retro video games has been this really interesting thing because it's just like when we were kids and you'd hear about someone who had that, Babe Ruth rookie card that was worth $1 million. Out of a collection of tens of thousands of cards, you got the one that's worth anything. As things get older and people throw stuff out, things break, you got fewer and fewer of something and more demand on it. Of course, the price goes up. It's supply and demand. Retro video games is going through a similar thing. I bought a game called Tecmo Super Bowl 2 back in the early 2000s that I used to have when I was a kid for like $15. Right now it's worth like $250 because it's the best. The Tecmo Super Bowl games on Nintendo, regular Nintendo and Super Nintendo. No one wants to get rid of that one. No one goes and sells that one. They hang on to it. So there's less of it with a lot of demand on it, and the price goes through the roof. Just a few years back, there was Super Nintendo 3 and Super Nintendo 1, which you go online, it was like $9 and $10, $11, $15. They're now like $30 and $40. So, if one of my games were wrecked. So, and then you gotta, can you clean a game if it's not working and get it working again? Or is it just dead because it's 30 years old? You know what I mean? So I have Star Fox on Nintendo 64, and it's not working right now. So can I take it apart and clean it? And it'll work fine. Or do I got to get a new Star Fox? Well, that's $20-$30. Not super expensive, but these things add up. When you have coming off of COVID a few years back, and times are tough. I had a back injury at the beginning of the year. I'm not working right now. I'm on unemployment. I won a injury settlement, so I spent some money on some games and stuff, and I had a laptop that died on me, so I got a new refurbished one for $130. Not terribly expensive, but it adds up. My digital analyzer broke, or just was like, I don't work anymore. I'm like, really? What's wrong? He's like, no, I don't work anymore. I'm like, oh. So I had to get a new one, $70. So the expense of this thing will add up. If you really want to get a channel going and get some serious subs and some serious views, you're going to need to be able to afford tech. And when it's 30 and 40 years old stuff, some of these regular Nintendo games I get sitting over here are probably going on 40 years old. They break. It is what it is. And then you get a pit bull, Rocco, I hope you're still alive out there somewhere, who steps on your headphones, got to go get a new one. And then when you you had to get like a digital analyzer to plug your AV cords into to run through your either laptop or PC tower. And then you're running out, I don't know how to get something off a box screen. I don't know if there's a converter or something like that. I just use my laptop or my PC tower over there. And so you got to get that digital analyzer. Well, then I go in my PC tower that I've had 10 years. The motherboard, I think the motherboard just doesn't want to read hard drives. I'm still trying to figure that one out, if I can save it. So in a pinch, I went and got a new refurbished PC tower. I don't even know what year it was. I was just looking at hard drive space, 1 terabyte, and then memory card for RAM. So 12 gigabytes of RAM is pretty serviceable. Problem is, when the PC Tower got here, it didn't have the right port for the right cord to run the newer-ish stuff off, not the AV wires. So it's like, okay, since I don't have that wire that goes into that, I need to get the laptop because the PC Tower doesn't work. But I want to have a PC Tower because the laptops, you can get, laptops probably with 16 and 32 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not going to be able to afford that. So I need a PC Tower that has 12 gigabytes of RAM so I do my video editing and whatnot. So when I get that thing and it's got it doesn't have the port for I forget what they're called offhand. I don't have the right wire for it to run the Xbox 360 off an analyzer. I gotta go get the laptop, and now you gotta run that through OBS, and then OBS is like, I don't work right now, and you're like, why? And, no, I just don't work right now. OBS Studios. Sometimes I work, sometimes I don't work. You're like, no. It's a pain in the ass. And then I have not one, but 2 Super Nintendos, the actual console. And they're both giving me fits. And so, what is it? They're old. So I need to take it apart and clean it. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It's not a Phillips or a flat. It's like an Allen wrench setup, a specific type of screw to unscrew it to open it up to clean it that I don't have. So I got to go find that piece, that Allen wrench thing, to clean it, to get it open, to clean it. And I don't have the money right now. So I got a whole over here. I got a whole stack. I don't know if you can see that. I got a whole stack of Super Nintendo games. And then I got more over here that it's hit and miss as to which cartridge wants to play and which cartridge doesn't. That couldn't be more infuriating. So it's like you get a few videos up. This game's getting views. This game's not getting views. Oh, I got an incoming call. I'll answer that never. And so you got to go, find the piece that cleans the video game so it'll work. And then your analyzer breaks, so you got to get a new one of those. And then your PC Tower doesn't want to read hard drives anymore because it's like, no, I'm 10 years old. I don't read hard drives anymore. And then OBS runs better off of one operating system than the other, or something. And then you go and buy a box screen TV, and the guy's like, don't lose this remote because it won't work when, there's no way to put it on the AVI. You need the remotes. Don't lose the remote. So what do? You lose the remote. So you got to go buy a new remote to watch VHS tapes on your ancient this thing. So what does that do? It doesn't want to play DVDs anymore. So a few years back, I got to go blow the dust off this. I go and buy my Tour of Duty so I can watch my Tour of Duty on the VHS DVD combo. And then the DVD player's like, I don't work anymore. You're like, why not? And he's like, no, I still work. I'm from the 90s. And then you got the flat screen TVs and you're playing your Civilization Call to Power, which, by the way, guess what? Doesn't work anymore. But this flat screen TV, when it plays the certain animations or whatever, the videos, like you develop a new, what's it called? The thing, it won't play that video because it's lack of compatibility. And so it's just like, so when you're thinking, man, you know, I see all these retro video game channels and all this stuff. Oh my God, Seth, I'm in the middle of shit, man. My cousin who's sitting in jail right now is calling me. I'm in the middle of a video, Seth. And then your cousin who's sitting in prison right now, not jail, prison, is trying to call you in the middle of a video. And it's like, I'm trying to do a retro video game channel. Like, guy. So, if you're watching this and you're like, man, all those retro video game channels, that looks like a lot of fun. Play video games from my childhood. Oh, it's going to be so cool. Okay, but just FYI, shit gonna break because it's old. So when everything you got is, everything here is a minimum of 10 years, like my PC tower is coming up on 10 years this year. The one that won't read the hard drives. For whatever frickin' reason that would even be. And maybe I just need to clean it all. I don't know how. But that's the thing. You gotta know how to clean it all, and if it requires a specific part to do it, or an instrument to do it, gotta go find that son of a bitch. And guess what? They haven't made it in 30 years. Good luck finding it. So you're gonna be replacing stuff unless you're the whiz. And I'm watching some. So I go how to clean a Super Nintendo, and there's some really big channels, millions of views. And Holmes got to take apart the Super Nintendo and clean it. I got this one hair going. I got hairs going everywhere. So you're gonna have hairs going everywhere because you have a retro video game channel. And even I'm assuming even if you're an expert, you're gonna have problems with this. Then, because you're just getting started. Then there's YouTube. Because what did you do when you were a kid? You got together with your 12 and 13-year-old buddies, and you were like, you're in your buddy's basement or at your place, and, mom and dad aren't around for the first time. So what do? You curse and you swear because that made it fun. It's like when you go to the mall and you're finally free, so you run around and you cause mischiefs. Then you go and curse and swear because that was the culture at the time. Well, that's not politically correct, son. So you have to go back over 400 videos and find those curse words and edit them out of there. Or just restart, terminate your channel that only has 400 views and redo it. Well, then the new subs the old subs don't find you. Where'd they go? And then they're going to change the terms of service again. Then you said, Mario likes it in the ass, and somebody got offended. So you got a community guideline strike or whatever they were, which they seem to have pulled back on. But they were getting pretty heinous about that for a while. I don't know if I just subconsciously learned not to curse as much and watch what you say, or are they just not as harsh about that anymore? But man, there's some rough years where you got gigged for everything. So yeah, you're going to have to be dealing with stuff. And then I went and bought, I can't even see that one. Okay, black on black. Now, I go and get Left 4 Dead 2, and there's something up with the graphics card where, like, the gameplay's fine, but, like, the wall will look like it's got confetti on it or something. It's hard to explain. I got a video up on it, a short, but when I go to play Left 4 Dead 2, nothing wrong with the gameplay, but it's like instead of being a brick wall that looks like brick, it's like pink and purples and yellows. So it's like, well, how old is Left 4 Dead 2 get nowadays? And then you go online and you get a few items from DK Oldies. Go ahead, it's pretty great. And then a couple things that are supposed to be cleaned and refurbished don't work. And you're like, okay, it's going to be a list. And everybody's telling me how much DK Oldies is a mess. So what's DK Oldies? If you live in the boonies like me, I live literally surrounded by corn in a cornfield. There ain't nothing by way of retro to go find. There's one place over here and there's one thrift shop over here. That's it. And then getting, for a long time, this one place in DeKalb, Illinois, it's fun. There's fun in the store. That's had 3 or 4 owners over the years with 3 or 4 names, and they had a good, healthy swath of retro video games, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo. Now it's getting really slim pickings, in terms of what they have for the video game consoles that are old school, like Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo. They don't have Sega for nothing. And they don't have Nintendo 64 for nothing. But even though Nintendo and Super Nintendo games is getting thin, why? Because people aren't bringing them in and trading them in and holding on to them. Whereas for years there, everybody was buying the new console, and they would trade in their old games. Well, nobody's doing that, so they're not getting replenished. So they still got plenty of like PlayStation 2, but it's like it's the same damn style of game over and over again. So you got to go online. DKOldies.com is the place to go online. I've been shouting them out for years. But, again, now it's getting expensive. 4, 5, 6, 8 years ago when I started doing this, whenever it was, you would find something for $15. Now it's $30-something on a regular, consistent basis. And then the stuff that you get that only runs you $5, $10 doesn't get a lot of views, because nobody's looking that up. Nobody's typing that into the algorithm. So there's a lot that goes into this, or I'm an idiot. Both are definite possibilities. But it takes a lot. You're dealing with old era tech. So your so many years old PC tower doesn't want to work, with your, where do I even put that guy? With your digital analyzer, or there's like, it'll work on this game but it won't work on that game, and then it breaks. And so you need, so to give you a sense of what I'm talking about, if you've never done this before, I got my PlayStation 2 right here. Okay, in the back it has AVI cords, audio visual cords. I don't know what the I stands for, audio visual something. Yeah. So these plug into this, which plugs into ports on your PC tower or laptop. Now you got to pull up, if I can get this thing running. Then you might want to get yourself a camera and set that on there, so while you're playing the game, your audience can see you. And that wasn't too expensive that I recall. I got it a while ago. It's holding up fine. Okay. So, well, what you got to do is go online. I'm doing this the wrong way, but where is it? So you got to pull up, download OBS Studios is one option. StreamYards is another one. And you got to add a video source. So here's your AV capture. And you got to pull out. You're getting good. Now you can record or you can stream. But if you're recording and you want to edit, what are you going to need? You're going to need an editing software. So either get one online. So I got PowerDirector 11. That's old school. Then when you got to go get Real Player to download off your own YouTube channel the video. Then PowerDirector is like, that's more recent than me. So it won't work because the framing isn't right. So it's like this guy here lacks compatibility with your flat screen, and then OBS lacks compatibility like with your editing software, and it just on it goes and on it goes. And then you got these video games just sitting here going, play me. And I'm like, I gotta get my next paycheck or two to get the piece to open up the Super Nintendo and clean it. So if you're wanting to get in this, it's both fun and heartbreaking at the same time. And then you get a sub, you lose a sub, you get a sub, you lose a sub, you gain a sub, you lose a sub, you get it, and it never ends. So that's the world of retro video game play if you're an idiot like me. And I don't know if everybody has the same problems, but when you're shits, 20 and 30 and going on 40 years old in some cases. It just is what it is. So, retro video game at your own risk, bro. And try not to go bankrupt doing it or something. Cheers.